Hi traders, this is Thiago and welcome to Bull or Bear Futures channel. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel and leave your like in the video. Today I'm carrying out one more live transmissions and my objective here is to show you the value of mixing techniques, in the case mixing order flow tools with technical analysis so as to improve your entries and exits. So my purpose here is try to narrate the flow and show you how it can work together. Okay, as usual, I will start with the market studies. That is something I prepare every morning and where I design my, just a second here, I design my scenarios. Yesterday we have here, after 14 sessions in this descending triangle here in the daily chart, we can see that last Friday we had a huge green candle here. It seemed that, or it seemed no, it was broken out, and at the beginning of yesterday's session, prices kept the mood. Price kept moving upwards. However, at noon, prices reversed, and we ended the session with this shooting star here. Okay, that's we were not in an uptrend actually, but this shooting star, for those who like candles, usually points to the possibility of a reversal of trend. So this and the coming sessions will be important for us to, in order to find some clue about what's gonna happen or what comes next. Okay. Uh, so in this pre-market studies, I've I've draw. I usually try to draft some possibilities. Okay, you can, if you want to sign it up. We have the link in the video description, right at the first line. And so we are currently at pre-market trading around 3906, and in this sense, moving upwards, I would say that 3913, that's a point that we have taken note yesterday for last session, and the close was right there. And 13 and 20 would be possibly the first points to offer some resistance. But I understand that the key region here in this session would be the 3932, 3928 to 32. Is that where we have this the pivot point, currently the pivot point, and also 35 we have the value area low. So we are trying pre-market traded all the night below the value area low. This morning it tested the support one here, the pivot point support one. It worked as a good support, at least during the night, in the morning. And then after Powell's speak, I'm not sure whether he is still speaking, but we've seen this bullish move here. And so my doubt now is if we are going actually to be able to overcome the 3913, and we can see that yesterday low was 3909 or 3910. So it would be important to, it would be possible to close this gap. Actually, we are right there, but let's see if it will be strong enough to keep moving upwards. So moving upwards, I would say that 1320 would be important, and 32 could be the key. Overcoming the 32, the region, the previous important region, 47 to 50, would be actually, tend to be actually relevant again. And we have the resistance one here in 3954. So this could offer some resistance and also carries the possibility of turning back. Moving downwards, we have the 39, 38, 38.95. That's an important region. And we also have here the 38.91. That's the support one. So trading below the 91 could lead to a test to 86 and 75. It could be quick. And then we would have the 38, 60, 50, 40, and 35 as next regions. And below it, the 23 to 25, that is actually an important region. It was a huge support. And remembering that we have the Fibonacci here at the 38.22, that has been for many sessions have been tested and worked actually as a support. So let's see what happens this session, okay? After this breakout here, the descending trend line, it would be better to see for bulls to see a green candle here yesterday. It was not actually what happened. So let's see this session if bulls will be able to keep moving upwards or if we will have a reversal. Here down left, I have my 2-minute chart that I usually like to use to see the short-term trend. I use as a scalper, I use the longer time frames to give me the big picture, but I like to see the trend since my trades lasts only seconds or no more than minutes. Hardly passes 1 minute, less more than 1 minute. Then I like using it. And here, up here, I like to use the 15-minute. Okay. So after 10 a.m., sorry, after 9 a.m., we've seen this bullish reaction here with Powell's speaking, with Powell's speech. So let's see if we are going to what we're going to see. Look at here the 20. The 20 was actually respected here at the very first beginning. If we see here, if you look at here the volumetric bars, we've seen aggressions from both sides. We've seen that buyers are being very aggressive, but sellers were aggressive as well with buyers absorption. Let's see if we have an exhaustion here or if it will gonna break the 20. Let's see how this 20, as I said before, this 3920 was the first important region. Let's see whether it's gonna be able to overcome it. And remembering that the 3928 to 30 is actually important, maybe the most important at this beginning, because since it's the pivot point, failing to overcome there could lead to a reversal that could take prices back to 38.91. That's the support one. Let's see how strong buyers will keep in. Here we have it's not shown in my screen because due to the size, but here I have the filtered times and sales to see the blocks. We see so far aggressions both from sellers and buyers. We are not seeing any of them having predominance or dominating here. So we can see that's actually been struggle. Okay, here a block buying block in 25, buying sell. Sorry, a selling block in 26. So it's kind of mixed. And since the Powell's speech was a few minutes ago, it would be normal to see market shaking, or we couldn't understand necessarily that this bullish move would be the daily trend as well. So it's important to 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 watch out for the reactions. We're seeing that sellers here in this left column, in the volumetric bars, we are seeing that sellers are making lots of aggressions, but buyers are absorbing. This kind of absorption in the top or in the close to the highs, this means strength. This usually means strength from the case bullish strength, but it does not mean that they are going to be able to make the breakout, since this is actually red because they're absorbing, because sellers are makes lots of aggression. So many times sellers can also win this beta. So it's important to see, but not reach precipitated conclusions. Okay, we're seeing, looking at the volume at price here at Superdome, we've seen this range. There was a range from 22 to 25, actually. We've seen that prices had an exhaustion right at 39.27. That was in a region that we are always we've talked about, we're watching. So let's see if it going to be able to work, to trade above the 39.20 and 30. It would be important, considering the scenario we had here in the daily chart, especially due to this shooting star we had yesterday. It would be important for bulls or to keep possibilities of continuing or starting an upward move. It would be important to show strength and keep consistently above the 20, especially the 30. So if we see many tries here and fails, and none of them been ending up in fail, we could read this with as a signal of weakness. Okay, especially because we have the pivot point here at the 32, and failing to reach the 32, or not being able even to reach the 32, trading below the value area and not being able to reach the 32 would reinforce the weakness signal. And then when seeing a signal of reversal, this could be an opportunity for a good short. But considering this very short-term trend, if we could say this, prices are still with a bullish perspective. But let's see what's gonna what's gonna happen. It seems it's going to make here a range from the range in this very beginning. Many times ranges are, or obviously ranges are under conformation, under formation, and then it starts small and goes extending, being extended. Look at here, we are in 21, 22, and we started seeing sellers absorptions. Let's see if it does not even reach 25. It would be important to reach 25 to keep showing strengthness, to keep showing strength. But what we're seeing is absorptions here from 21 to 2. Let's see what's gonna happen. But failing to reach the 25 could be seen as a signal of weakness. But it's too early to say about this because turning again to I will show you here, the filtered times and sales, we're seeing that is more green than orange. That means buyers were more aggressive, seems to be more aggressive with blocks. So it does not mean that they're going to win, but we are not seeing each of the sides prevailing before the other. So it's hard to reach or to anticipate any conclusion. It just reaches now the 39.15. 13 was the close. Yes, it is close and is also an important region. It's also an important region, so let's see. But did you see that I mentioned that time that the absorptions in 21, 22 before the top of the upside of the range was symptomatic. Let's see here, we could say we are in the end of the range here. It's a bit messy down under. It's not clear where it starts. But we keep seeing both buyers and sellers with strong aggressions. I would say that buyers know that if they want to take the lead, or if they want to win this struggle, they would need to quickly push price up and put prices above the 39.30. But so far they are failing doing so. This kind of move, with few contracts, it's not that good because it's those quick moves. Since the move is too quick, it's possible that to revert or to move back again quickly as well. Not always happen, and everything with you should know, or you may know, that we cannot say here always and never, because we're always talking about probability. But it's such a kind of move like that one, a quick movement with few contracts, many times it's not strong enough to hold or to make a definitive displacement or to change level. Let's see. We're seeing the it's been hard to lots of struggle in 3920. Was not able to reach the 3930. Let's see whether it's going to establish a tighter range, or if it's going to keep shaking in this 7 to 10 point region, 7 to 10 point range. But did you see, I've mentioned that time about the absorptions in 21. It was failing to reach 25. There's absorption 21 and it moved upwards. Now it's failing to overcome the 19. We're seeing that seller's absorption is getting lower and lower. This is usually a characteristic of this means a selling pressure, a strong selling pressure, and many times it leads to the continuity of the movement, move downwards. It moved up again with few contracts, but now we're seeing buyers making aggressions, but sellers absorbing. Let's see if this time it would be important to reach at least the 25. It fails in reaching the 25. If it stops again here in 2022, it would confirm the weakness, and then each failed try this way, it incentivizes the other side to keep pushing. And so, did you see? And today we're seeing something that it was usual in December. Prices sometimes facing struggling to move upwards, but when moving downwards, it goes fast. It moves quickly. Look at here in the 13 again. 13 is an important point, important region. We reached it again the yesterday's low here in 39.09. And then this lower and lower selling absorption is not a good message to buyers. And as I was mentioning, in December we've seen is buyers struggling to move one, two, three, four, 5 points. No, hardly to reaching 4 points. But when sellers took the lead, it was quickly. It was a quick downwards move. So let's see what's going to happen. As I mentioned before, since we had this would be probably a more volatile. We are facing volatility every day, every session, every single session. But considering there was the Powell's speech or Powell's interview, I don't know, at 9, then it usually shakes the the market at the openings. Né? Since we can see here in 2 minutes this 3 strong green candles, but for me, the clue of the possible reversal it was the fact of failing to reach the 32. We have the pivot point at 32. Failing to reach the region was a message. And then later, all those absorptions in 25, 21, 19, in lower levels, it sent us clues that we could see sellers taking the lead. So we have currently the top of our range here in the 39.25, the high of regular session 39.27. That was actually a point we have taken note for some time ago. And let's see whether it's going to form another range here. Here is something I like looking at is I use the 2-minute as my reference of uptrend or downtrend, okay? And a 2 minute from the regular session. I don't like in such a short term, I don't like to use all the market to include the pre-market. Since after regular session starts, the volume hugely increase. So it started upward. It tried to work as a support here, but it failed after losing the moving average. It failed to overcoming up there. So this is something I really look at, and many times I like to make this trade, this kind of trade here. For example, this is last time in 22 here. It lost the moving average, it failed to move up there, and so it's not unusual to start or to revert or to start a downtrend this way. So in this sense, considering this price trading below the moving average, in this scenario, I would try to prioritize short trades. Okay, this is not, as I've mentioned, prioritize because uh, we can we can have good counter trend opportunities, but usually I prefer to avoid them, since in a counter trend, if you are not too precise, you can get quickly stopped, and you can start losing, or worse, you can get stopped and then it moves favorably, and this is not good, especially in the session start. So we are here struggling right on the yesterday lows. Here I didn't show you, but I also have here the weekly chart. Okay, we are kind of, it's we cannot say about this because we are only starting our Tuesday, but so far it's a kind of shooting star also in here in the weekly. No? We are, this moving average here is the 20 periods moving average. I like using as a reference. So today it is 39.43. Then let's see if it's gonna be, after all this week, if gonna be overcome, or we have this long-term downtrend here from January 22. That's been respected. We're in a pretty nice, pretty good downtrend channel. So let's see here if it will be able to reach there, or if it will fail right here in the moving average and make a pivot here in the 37.90 and keep downwards. The case of keeping downwards, we would be heading, we have the support here in 33.50 or 3200 here, down here. But before we have the 3503 here, that's a short-term Fibonacci. Not that short-term. Mid-term is a Fibonacci from October. So let's see what's gonna happen. Look at here. I like to use this 15 minutes as well, because many times it happens. This happens. Rejection, possibly was a rejection here, right at the moving average. It's not unusual to see this. I don't like to leave limit order or to use this kind of trade because it's actually too risky for me. But many times it works, at least temporarily for scalping. It works as a reference. Let's see if it's going. It's like in lots of contracts. Let's see if it's going to overcome the 22. It's quickly moving upwards. We had here a strong, a big green candle. You see here that it tried, it made the low here, but quickly moved upwards. Many times this configuration leads to a reversal, but my objective using both techniques is exactly trying to avoid decisions using only one of them. So here, I see this grabbed my attention. When I see this here, this false breakout here, and a reversal, I usually, it's impossible to disregard it, but my decisions are usually led by the flow. So we're seeing, I've mentioned about this range here, this range that is ending in 39.25. Different from the other times, we are seeing now a struggle here in the 22, both sellers and buyer sellers absorbing here, but also making aggressions, but buyers more contundent here. So in this scenario, it's not unusual to see the breakout, but it's always better to wait for the flow. If we see an exhaustion above the 25, this could be a clue showing that it's actually, we see that it reached the 34.75. But this time there was no rejection, and buyers kept putting pressure, kept with aggressions. There was not a hike with few contracts there. It seems they are keeping their appetite. So we are in a crucial region now, considering that in the previous 2 or 3 times we've seen prices returning from 25, 21, 19, but now they're struggling above this region. So it does not mean it will break out, break it up, but break it out. But for me, it's very representative, this fact here, this 1964 contracts, this end of this range. So in the case of breaking out, overcome this, and exhaustion, then turning back here, this could mean a return or turn back to the range, to the big range. But I like to see as I mentioned, I like to see the 2 minutes, because sometimes if you look only to the flow, you get, sometimes it can also mislead, or you can get you confused. So I like to see the 2 minute here. For example, we're seeing that is the third bar that price is struggling to overcome the 24, that it's lower than the previous high. So failing here could give ammunition to sellers, or could be the message to sellers to force. Did you see how, as I've mentioned before, how buyers suffer to put price up, and how it's easy for sellers to bring to bring them to bring them down again. So this is something I understand that our traders should look at. You when looking only to the candles, regardless the time frame, you lose lots of information. So this context, this story that is being counted during the session, this is really it worth it. It's good to see it, and sometimes counting it or narrating it helps you, even if you're alone. Sometimes I do it myself. I'm alone, but I try to speak this louder, narrate loud in order to be more, it seems that things get clearer. We're seeing facing difficult again to reach the 20. We are seeing here, I have the point of control. I have the volume profile that I really consider it. And sessions point of control is 39.19. What does it mean? It was the most traded point, and we usually see a big struggle when prices are around them, because this is the most traded right there. Many times buyers try to push it up and sellers try to push it down. So it's always hard to, and many times in this around this spot of control, I don't like to do anything. Many times I use it as a reference not to enter, but to close my trades if I'm positioned and prices reach that region. Depending on what I see in the volumetric bars, I prefer to close than holding the trade. You see that this time prices reached the 39.25 but failed in overcoming. It was exactly the point I've mentioned, 39.25. Did you get it? So it's important to look at here. We're seeing it's actually been struggled here, but we're seeing lots of buying aggressions, but sellers absorbing. Sellers absorbing. Impossible to say who's gonna win. And it's also important, even though we are seeing and narrating all this, it's important to avoid getting biased. We need to actually stick to what we're seeing. Never try to anticipate things. And remembering that this week, last week was really busy in terms of economic indicators. During most of the days, we had something important to be released. And this week, in terms of indicators, the most important, the CPI on Thursday. So it would not be a surprise if prices get sideways, establish some level and trade sideways still there. Because before we have some speeches, we have oil inventories, but the economic indicators that is actually putting pressure and shaking markets the latest months. So this week is more calm, is calmer, more quiet than previous one. So we can see a scenario like this, price shaking up and down, and with no decision about decide to move consistently. The 13 here was respected again, as mentioned before. 13 was previously an important point. Yesterday morning, we had already taken note of it. The close was right at it, and we're seeing it working again. Let's see till where it's gonna. Let's see if this time it's gonna be able to overcome the 20 here. Point of control remains at 39.19. Let's see if it overcome 20, or if it reach at least 22 here to show some strength. But we're seeing, let's see here if sellers will keep absorbing. We've seen here, look at this volumetric bar from 19 to 21. They absorbed all the sellers the buyers' aggressions. Buyers, you see here in the times and sales, this is not filtered. This is from one contract here, but they're failing to, they're trying, but failing to push up. You're seeing here the 19, and 17, there was a big absorption. Now it's suffering to overcome the 19. And we are seeing here, if you see here, this is the point of control, okay? It's the third time to overcome the point of control. So uh, sometimes a decision should be taken. I mean, let's see if buyers will be able to push or to move upwards, and sometime when it happens, prices displace fast, or failing here again and moving downwards could lead to a seller's more intense reaction. But so far, what we are seeing is a kind of balance from both sides. I mean, uh, we are making this big ranges from 13 to 25, and none of them are being able to make a strong or contundent move in the limit, both in the upper and lower limits. But what is grabbing my attention here is that is the fourth candle here that's not been able to overcome the 21. And failing at this 21, we're seeing lots of absorption. In case of overcoming, let's look at the 25. But we see an exhaustion here in 21.5. Let's see if it's going to overcome there. It's possible. As I mentioned before, since it's too close to the point of control, this is somewhere I usually prefer not to do anything. You see sellers making aggressions and buyers absorb it in a signal that it could move up, but it's always suffering to. You see here it was 21, 25, up. This is a classical exhaustion. We see here 400, 106, and there was no limit buying order here. But in such a condition, as I mentioned, we are too close to the point of control. That could lead only to a quick, very quick scalping when you see that happening, not afterwards, because it's too risky to do something. So we are seeing here buyers actually putting pressure, but sellers defending. It's been tough to overcome, but now they're more intense. But at the same time, looking again here at the filtered times and sales, it seems that now sellers are prevailing here. Big blocks from sellers are prevailing compared to buyers. But buyers are actually trying. And with such huge tries, if they fail here, it's not unusual to see if it moves the opposite direction. Many times it moves quickly. Let's see what happens this time, because they actually spend lots of contracts and trying, and they were not able to reach even the 25. Again, the 19, this region is the 3920. It's been so far the key region. It's impossible to think in doing anything around here because you are seeing that there's an interest from both sides. We're seeing the struggle moving upwards in a level, in upper levels. Now sellers are putting pressure and buyers absorbing. And it many times when it happens, or many times there's a breakout, and you see this have happened before. But when happening, it does not mean that there will be a breakout, especially because we're seeing that sellers are currently absorbing in 21. Let's see if this time it will be able to reach the 25. Let me see the 5 minutes. I didn't look at it this session. Here, the 5 minutes. Prices are starting to trade above the moving average, but it's kind of sideways. And this is what we're seeing, prices sideways. Moving average here is not pointing to any specific side. Let's see if it's gonna break out the 25 or it's gonna make a new high. Yes, this time, yes. But we're seeing here this absorption, the 30. We reached 31.5. I mean, it means exactly right at the pivot point, session's pivot point, 39.32. Let's see if sellers will be able to keep defending the region. They tried here with these huge absorptions. It's always interesting to look at the filtered times and sales. We've seen here the breakout with not that much big buying blocks. You see here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 8 to 10 blocks, big blocks here. Let's see if more buyers will get excited and start buying. Let's see if this pivot point will work or not. If it actually works as a support, as a resistance, and prices turn back from here, we could see a test in 38.91. Price could head downwards and lose the current low, move downwards. But we are seeing strong bars both here in 15 minutes and also here in 2 minutes. So I think that is 32 to 35. 35 is the value area low. That's actually important. So reaching here 35 and struggling, failing to overcome, if a downtrend starts, it could mean that we could think that a downtrend could be more likely. But let's see what's going to happen. We're seeing sellers defending, buyers actually tried with lots of contracts but sellers absorb it, and it's starting a new range. It's starting to be formed here around the day's high. A range being formed is frequently leads more to a continuation than a reversal, but in this case, it's a bit different since we are right at the pivot point and close to the value area. So we could see it could lead. We are in an uptrend, kind of uptrend here. We had a big bar, but it would not be possible or unusual to see, but this to see a reversal. But this absorption here from buyers in this scenario means that they're having appetite. They have appetite and could keep buying. But what's grabbing my attention is that when looking at the filter is that we are not seeing that much, there are not that much aggressions to make this breakout in such an important region. So it does not mean I'm not going to trust or I will do something, but it's not that usual. Or I mean, it's better. The more trustful, most trustful usually involves lots of contracts, lots of blocks. We are right at the value area low 35. Let's see if it's going to respect it. So we have two indicators, the pivot point in value area here low to close. So we need to consider the region as a whole. 32 to. So buyers obviously knows that to them it's crucial to keep prices above the 30, 39.30. That's an important reference. And going further, the 39.47.50 was previously the region. So trade consistently above the 30 is a precondition, but it's not enough. They should be strong enough to move above the 50. And it's interesting because yesterday in our pre-market studies, we mentioned about 39.73. That was actually a previous important region. And sessions high was right there. Let's see here. We see that the 35 value area low rejected at the first attempt, the first try. Let's see here. We have the bottom of the range here. In theory, it would not be it's not that usual to break out here right in the first time. Many times we see a reaction of at least 2-3 points. And since we have a range, it would be possible to come until 31 or 32 at least. In the case it would reverse. Remembering that our latest high was 27, so it was actually possible to see a pullback down here. But trying to see the big picture, the message so far, buyers, what we've seen in this 50 minutes, buyers were suffering to move price upwards. They just accomplished the breakout, overcome the 39.27. That was an important region. overcame also the pivot point, but exhausted or it lacked confidence right at the value area low. This have some meaning. Look here that we're turning back to the previous range. Price were have been working for many time. So let's see if you remember the 25, that was the region to be watched. Let's see here if it moves upwards and fails or exhausts above the 25, this and enters and selling pressure enters, we could see that the possibility to resume the downward pressure, and we could see price again at least in the 17 and maybe 13. Let's see here. I will remain more 5 minutes because I'm curious and would like to keep it hashed, recorded here, to see if it's going to. Now do you see it's facing strong difficulties to overcome the 25 again. Ideal scenario for trying something, it would be to overcome and exhaust, overcome and lack intensity. It's such a kind of situation. When it happens, many times it reverts. But we're seeing selling aggressions and buying absorptions here. So now it would be hard to do something. And we are right at the 2 minute 2 minute moving average here. So even though the 25 is important, here it's not a good point to try to understand that a short would be, or even, sorry for the noise, even having clues that a short would be a good try here. It's hard to make this, it's hard to make a short right at this moving average. But 25 is enforcing that it's actually important. We're seeing now this absorption 21 for sellers. This is nice because now buyers are not being able to push prices up from the 21, and 21 was important before. At some point, the beginning, we've seen from 21, 22 lots of selling absorption that led to a downward move. You could see it now again. But we're seeing buyers really trying to defend. I've seen sellers being too much aggressive, but buyers absorbing. Look here at oh, sorry, just a second. Times and sales. Now it's clear the selling pressure here. From the visual, we can see that it's prevailing the selling force, selling strength. But we are right again, right at the point of control again. So in between this middle of the range, it's better to stay away and not doing anything. But we see a move upwards and again fading at the 25. This could show us that it's actually hard for buyers to win right there. Let's see what's gonna happen. This point of decision. If it's gonna happen, if it's going to be able to reach the 25. Now, sellers defended, but buyers absorb it. Buyers are really trying to push up, but they are not using. They're not making big box aggressions. Let's see if they're going to be able to overcome with such a small intensity in terms of size of contracts. It's possible, it's not impossible. It's more difficult, but possible. Let's see what happens in 25. Will it break? Kind of rejection, but they're putting pressure. They are trying here. Let's see. Maybe this time. Uh, I think that should have moved upward more faster than it was. This leaves room to sellers to see that they can put pressure, they can get excited and start spending their contracts to move downwards. But at this time, sellers are actually reacting. And it's dangerous to do something when players start struggling right here. When you see a quick exhaustion, a rejection, it's safer to try something. But when it starts this kind of this kind of tug of war, it gets gets a bit dangerous too. But we're seeing that it's been hard to reach there. And not overcoming 26, 25, I mean. And okay, if it overcomes here but fails in 32, this would confirm the weakness and could give reasons to sellers to start pushing. You see that 25 have been overcome, but it's 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 paused in 27, so it does not that move. And since 27 is actually also important, was the first high and it was previously an important region, we could here be just extending a bit this range here. Then we would start looking to 27 and not to 25 as the top of the range. So when you do not see that momentum in the breakout, such as it happened here in the 25, it's hard. A breakout should be fast and intense, lots of contracts with conviction. And now it seemed to lack that conviction. So far it seems that actually it's missing conviction from both sides. It's not, we are not seeing any significant or any relevant breakout. So in theory, it would be less riskier, or it would be safer for us to prefer to trade the limits of the regions or in kind of sideways condition than trying to, then when it's in a clear trend. And did you see here, price is pushing down, and when decide to push down, it's too fast. This is something it's really relevant for me. Let's see. I was just mentioning that it could get sideways, but let's see until where. Let's see here. Here we have the end of range here in 14. We could say 15, 14. Let's see. We've seen here lots of absorption from buyers, and buyers also starting aggressions. Let me see the 5 minutes. So far it's It's hard to say something, but okay. Yeah. Anyway, this fail in 25. This is meaningful. Fail in 27. It was our first day's high here. Now it failed in overcome the 27. Then it was the clue for sellers just try to at least to come down here, and let's see if arriving down here at this 08 or 07, if they if sellers will keep pushing, and even if buyers will be able to defend in case they do so. Sellers are now putting pressure. Okay, guys, we are completing now 1 hour, bit 1 hour and 5 minutes of transmission. In order not to get too long, I will finish here. Hope you have enjoyed and hope to be helpful these transmissions. If you like it, please leave your like at the video. If you are not a subscriber, also subscribe to the channel. I will keep doing at least once a week these transmissions, preferably two, maybe two, but at least once I will be certainly doing. And if you have any comment or doubt or suggestion, please just drop me a comment. Not here in the chat, because many times the chat I will not read it afterwards, or it's hard to find it, but in the comments below the video. And also, if it's been helpful, just please drop a comment there. Also, it can incentivize other traders to see the approach. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you here.